This book is called George vs. George by Rosalind Shanzer. This book was published in 2004 and has 60 pages total. I got this book at Amazon, but I'm sure you can find it at any local library. I chose this book because of the illustrations that it has and because it takes terms that might be hard for some students to understand and puts it into words that they can. It also does a great job of bringing the characters to life because it has these little pictures of each character in there, and they say different quotes. Some of them are funny, some of them are serious. It just kind of brings the characters to life and makes them more personable. This book teaches readers all about the American Revolution. It starts with events that lead up to it, such as things like the Boston Tea Party, the Boston Massacre, things like that. It then goes on to talk about the battles that happened during the American Revolution and their importance. As I continue, I'll show some pictures of the illustrations from the book on the screen. Along with this, I'll have a title of the event that was occurring. For the standard, this book aligns with 5.8.CE.1. Analyze the causes of the American Revolution and the effects of individuals and groups had on the conflict. To incorporate the book into a lesson, I figured it could first be used as a read aloud for the whole class, and then students would pick which side they wanted to choose. So did they want to be on King George's side or on George Washington's side? So they can first start off with making their decision, and then they can choose again in the middle, and then they can choose again at the end. So I mentioned earlier how I really like that this book brought the characters to life. This page shows a really great example of that. If you take a look at the illustration at the top of the page, you'll see 4 people that are signing the Declaration of Independence. John Hancock being one of those people. As you can see, he has a very large signature signed on the Declaration of Independence. There's a quote from him that reads, "There, I guess King George will be able to read that." John Hancock signing his signature huge has always been so hilarious to me, and I'm really happy that they decided to include that little quote. I thought it was interesting that they dedicated an entire page to discussing why there were no kings for America. So, as you can see, it was because George Washington was simply offended that anyone would even suggest that there would be a king of America after all that they had gone through against King George. This next page depicts a map of the United States in 1783. So this is finally when America gets through with all the wars, all the peace treaties, and they can finally become the nation that they've wanted. This map is just one of the text features that make this book so great. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this book was that it included what happened after. So what was George Washington up to? What was King George up to? I thought that was an aspect that isn't really discussed much in the classroom. And finally, we have the acknowledgments, bibliography, sources, and index. Overall, I'd rate this book a 9 out of 10. I feel like it did a really great job of explaining the more tedious details of the American Revolution while putting it in terms that students can understand. The only reason I didn't give it a 10 out of 10 is because it is a little bit lengthy and some students may become non-engaged. But overall, I really enjoyed reading it, and I can't wait to use it in the classroom.